Hello, I'm PhocusWire Editor-in-Chief Mitra Sorrells, and I am joined today by Greg Abbott, Senior Vice President at DataArt, where he leads the company's travel, transportation, and hospitality practice. Greg, welcome.
Thank you, Mitra. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm great. It's great to see you. So,
Likewise.
We are going to be talking about how outsourcing tech innovation can fuel success for travel brands. Why don't you get us started with an overview of DataArt's role, overall and in the travel industry?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So we are a global software engineering firm. We design, we build, and we maintain mission-critical applications. We're just over 25 years old now. We're headquartered out of New York. We've got 40 development centers, 40 development centers across 40 countries. We're about 6,000 engineers across all technologies, lined up in 5 key verticals. That's finance, healthcare, retail, media, and of course, travel. And it's probably important to share for your audience too that we're a work for hire company. And so what that means is we're not a product company. We rather work for companies and help them build their products. We're behind the scenes brand. And generally we help them build their products, faster, more efficiently with reduced risk or at scale. And we've served over 100 of the top brands in travel. Companies like Priceline and Travelport and Hotel Tonight, Norwegian Cruise Lines, Inspirato, many others. And we're also partnered with the main GDSs. So we help people take their their out-of-box services and customize them. And that's what we've been doing for the last 12 years.
Okay, well, certainly sounds like there's a lot there to keep you busy. So
it's a mouthful.
Yeah. So of course, the last few years have been tremendously challenging for companies across every sector of travel. And even as the pandemic is now receding, many are still dealing with staffing issues. Can you just talk to us a bit about why this type of service is needed now more than ever?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I tell a little story when I get a chance to talk about this. And we all remember March 14th, the day that the world stopped traveling. And, it was pretty quick after that when furloughs ended for a lot of people. Other sectors were continuing to grow and to develop technology. And so I've been in the travel industry my entire career, and folk that I've known for 30 plus years either took their packages. A lot of them, though, also went to adjacent sectors. And so the great retirement and the sort of what I've come to call the great brain drain in travel technology has really, left a void. This is some of our competitors even shuttered their entire travel practices. So I was very thankful to work for DataArt because we're a people-first organization. The company came in, and despite having lost 50% of our revenue, they underlined their commitment to continue to serve the travel sector. But what you see is obviously there's an absence of subject matter expertise across many of the segments in travel, and DataArt's capabilities are squarely at the intersection of technical expertise and travel domain experience. So we're helping enterprises fill this void in the travel tech space now.
So can you give us an example of the type of solution that DataArt might create?
Sure. But you can imagine with the sort of limited human capacity, the limited resources, and then the change in demand. So I don't know if you booked through an agency when you were traveling during COVID times, but if you wanted to change your travel, you sometimes sat on hold for a very, very long time trying to get to somebody. And this is a real pain in terms of the customer service experience. So one really good example, I think, is the agency sector overall, that many of the systems, they were built to receive orders, but not necessarily to process what I call post-booking transactions. And so all of a sudden they had a huge amount of call volume because airlines implemented very flexible policies, but they didn't have the automation behind the scenes to be able to deal with that paradigm change in the way that reservations are being processed. So post-booking refers to really any manipulation of the reservation after the payment has been made. And if you booked with an agency, it was a really tough process. So we've helped agencies put in automation. And once the airlines put in these flexible policies, I think it's here to stay, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is that basically both leisure and business segments will probably continue to see an implementation of self-service automation capabilities. Couple that with the brain drain I was just talking about, and the growing demand for this self-service and exacerbated by a hot IT market. And it's a real challenge for companies to be able to tackle some of these problems. And so that's what we're helping firms do, our enterprises do.
Yeah, as you're speaking of that specific example, that post-booking automation, I'd imagine it was also the kind of thing that had to develop really on a fast track, because it's all everybody was talking about, right? Frustrations and issues.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of pressure during the times when we were trying to get that out. But again, the DataArt kept all its people. We all know travel well. We helped our clients come in and build systems as quickly as we could to be able to automate that to deal with the limited resources that they had across their organizations.
Are there other examples that you can share to help illustrate some of what DataArt does in the travel industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think, in terms of automation right now, there's a move towards a significant amount of siloed data being released. And I know this is something PhocusWire's covered time and time again, but being able to go across the cloud transformation landscape and helping companies get access to that data and then analyze that data to be able to produce forecasts. So for instance, some organizations are a little bit more mature, and they're thinking about how to offer benefits to their customers about progressive benefits, like, hey, not just rebook your travel because it's cheaper now, but hey, when is the best time to ticket this? Because things are changing so quickly. So really using unlocking data, being able to get that data in a format that you can produce the analytics and then use that for business decisions, such as, again, something as specific as when to issue the ticket, because you might be able to save money if you wait. Maybe you need to do it now. It's the best time to ticket.
Okay, I understand also that DataArt's travel and hospitality services recently received certification from Amazon Web Services. Can you help us understand the significance of that?
Sure, I'm very excited, as you could tell. This is an exciting thing for us to announce. Now, we haven't put it out on the press yet, so this is fresh,
breaking news,
fresh news. Yeah. So through our comprehensive work with AWS Solutions in Travel and Hospitality, we've earned the AWS Travel and Hospitality competence. So already a number of accreditations for us horizontally. Now this represents one vertically. So there's only 12 other firms across the globe, and we're next to firms like IBM, Capgemini, Deloitte, and others. And so this is a significant achievement for us. And there's a reason why we invested heavily, but let me know if you want to know, and I'll continue.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Tell us a bit more about that, because I'm really trying to understand, what does that tell us about DataArt?
Yeah, so we believe that enterprises are going to want to focus on cloud platform solutions that are designed specifically to fit their industry. So AWS is, with their sort of customer-obsessed core principle, they're the leading cloud platform in travel that provides capabilities that span the SaaS software PaaS platform and IaaS infrastructure as a service. So they're able to provide very industry specific set of modular capabilities that support specific industry use cases. And you can think of like customer service, obviously phone centers and stuff like that. Amazon has a backbone core on Amazon Connect, right, which provides this easy to use omni-channel cloud contact center out of the box. They have Lex, which is their chatbot and conversational AI tool, and they've got Polly, which does does speech recognition and deep learning around converting speech and text and speech. So, and those are sort of solutions that if you're using their cloud services, you can kind of plug and play within and help accelerate your solution. So we believe that's the future of cloud. There's obviously loads of examples too in sustainability. Companies are investing to be able to use like AWS IoT to gather the data that they need to make the right decisions. SageMaker, which is processing using machine learning processing to unlock what decisions they can make, and then Forecast to make it pretty and so that the business people can see and the business value that's involved in those types of things. So I think, what does that all mean? It means that like from whatever point an organization in travel is on in their cloud journey, they can rest assured that in partnering with DataArt, they can maximize their support and the best practices for cloud.
Okay. So, we're coming up on the end of 2022, as hard as that is to believe. I'm wondering,
like the fall.
Yeah, it's lovely. So, as we're starting to look ahead a bit, what would you advise companies to be prioritizing for the coming year or two when it comes to technology?
It's a good question. It is that time, right, to start looking at ahead of 2023. I guess I would probably answer it in two different ways. First, from an industry, from the segments.
Yep.
I'm enamored with Hopper. I think from a fintech tie-up with travel, they've just set a new bar for developing, financial gamification products in travel, and I think others are going to follow their example. So I think from a segment perspective, what I call fintech and travel is going to continue to really flourish in 2023. I think anything that is connected to loyalty. Loyalty is going to continue to be in focus, particularly for enterprises that are trying to maximize customer experience or their lifetime customer value. And then the STR market, the market is going to continue to mature. So what does that mean? It means you're going to have tools that are really there to optimize, what's the right price to the right person at the right time. So I think as that market matures and continues to see strong demand, you're going to continue to see focus in that way. And so that's how I'd answer from sort of an industry perspective. But from a tech standpoint, I'd probably say, I mentioned cloud. Cloud's kind of it's a prerequisite now to unlocking the power of AI and ML and other modern technology capabilities. And it's amazing that not everybody's in the cloud yet. Lots of people are early in their journey. And so we continue to help firms with the transformation aspect of it. But once you get there, I think those that are really starting to unlock it, and I'll cite Gartner here, so don't beat me up, but they say that 76% of the digital teams are responsible for revenue now. And that means that with that responsibility, they're looking to use tools to build technical resilience. And they have they're looking to unlock the transparency. If I'm responsible for the revenue, I need to know everything associated with that. And we call that observability. So everything has to be measured to have a data-driven decision. They're going to want to automate all over the place so that there's quick time of response when something goes wrong. And then they're using extreme design and testing to really push the use cases to the edge to make sure that they're covering all of that. And that means that, what does that do? That's for companies that are able to start thinking that way. It delivers resilience, and it helps them mitigate operational and security risks. And it creates ultimately an enhanced customer experience. And so I think if you have reduced downtime, more resilience, it should equal more revenue for companies. I suspect the leaders are going to be moving in that particular example. And I did read a case study. We didn't do the work, but I read a case study recently on American Airlines that had obviously hundreds and hundreds of systems. With the growing complexity in their systems was creating just unknown vulnerabilities and weakness across the organization. And they were talking about how their traditional test practices just weren't working anymore. They just weren't getting to the answers that they needed. And so they started using site reliability engineering and what they called automated healing, which I think is quite a fascinating term, but yeah. where the system heals itself. And then of course they were using chaos engineering practices to increase their resilience. And what they defined it to, they said, to protect the revenue. And yeah. I guess it's maybe using acronyms as sort of this post-COVID, lots of focus on health and immunization and whatnot. The terms kind of lind from that, but I think that's something I've been reading about that I really think is going to be in focus for 2023. And I think CTOs and CIOs should be thinking about those things.
Wonderful. Those are great insights from you. Before we close, I just have to ask it just very quickly, any thoughts on, there's some other maybe farther down the road types of technologies and solutions we've been hearing about and certainly covering in PhocusWire. Any reaction to things related to blockchain, self-sovereign identity, metaverse, these things that are bubbling up?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so much to do in technology, right? And there's always like, so I think my reaction is blockchain's here to stay, right? As a distributed ledger technology is here to stay, and as the use cases start to present themselves, you're going to see more and more. I kind of relate it to like, and maybe this is a bad example, but in DC, right? It's like, it's been around for ages, but now you're starting to see more and more implementation. Right. I look at blockchain like that. It's a sea change, and it's going to take a long time for it to really proliferate across the industry. Why? Because there wasn't enough use cases to really drive the adoption of the technology any quicker. Yeah. Metaverse, I think it's a great time to start running proof of concepts, to see, particularly from a marketing perspective, to see what destinations in general should really be having some fun with metaverse. So I don't think it's big bets on metaverse, but I think it's time to start making small calculated bets to see if there's something to it. And then what was the other one you mentioned? Metaverse.
Self-sovereign identity. Self-sovereign.
Yeah. Yeah. How long have we been talking about that?
So I think that's another one that's maybe we'll start to see some more, applications that then it'll move it a little bit faster.
Don't get Robert Cole started on that topic. So yeah, I'll put that as number 3. And you're probably right. It's probably a long shift for us, but so always so lovely to speak with you. Thank you for taking the time to have me on today. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, wonderful, Greg. We really appreciate all your insights. Thank you so much for your time. Greg Abbott from DataArt. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.